Insurance fraud in the UK is reaching epidemic levels, and it's costing us billions of pounds a year. Deliberate crashes, bogus personal injury claims, even fake deaths. The fraudsters are risking more and more to make a quick killing. And every year, it's adding up to £50 to your insurance bill. Insurers are fighting back, armed with covert surveillance systems.
The equipment that we have to use has to be cutting edge. It's as simple as that.
Sophisticated data analysis techniques.
This is connected to a bank account and a second mobile phone number.
And a newly formed dedicated police unit.
Police, get back!
They're catching the criminals red-handed. All those con men, scammers, cheats on the fiddle, now they're caught in the act and claimed and shamed. Today, a £750,000 claim comes under suspicion.
It was very pertinent to the case that we showed exactly how much he was able to do on a day-to-day basis.
A specialist police fraud unit executes an early morning raid on a suspect.
I'm going to be questioning you about a no claims discount, okay?
And a stubborn fraudster sticks to his story.
In the face of such overwhelming evidence, he wanted to try to find an excuse why he should still be paid.
This is Joan Kirk from Preston. In September 2001, she was injured in a car crash. The shunt left her with neck and shoulder pain, but her injuries seemed relatively minor.
Well, this was an accident where Mrs. Kirk was stationary at a roundabout and our customer hit her from behind. So this was a genuine accident. We had no doubt that the accident occurred. We also had no doubt that Mrs. Kirk received injuries as a result of the accident.
1 year after the crash, Mrs. Kirk's condition deteriorated. Complaining of extreme muscle spasms, chronic pain and exhaustion, she decided to quit her job as a university administrator. As well as making a claim for disability living allowance, she began legal proceedings against the insurer of the driver who had crashed into her. The claim was handed to the insurer.
Mrs. Kirk's claim came to us about 2 years after the initial accident had happened. She was claiming for £750,000.
To the experienced claims handlers at RBS, Joan Kirk's physical deterioration didn't fit the usual pattern.
We understand the types of injuries that are likely to come from accidents, and we also understand how people normally recover from those accidents. So where we find someone whose injuries are inconsistent with the type of accident that's occurred, then we have to investigate in more detail, and that's what happened in Mrs. Kirk's case.
To get the full picture, the insurer needed to see how Mrs. Kirk was going about her daily activities. If you want to spy on someone, this team of undercover investigators will get the job done, using their highly trained operatives.
The operatives themselves have to have kind of huge amount of concentration, and ultimately what we're seeking to do is maximise the footage that we get.
And today I'm one of 2 operatives tasked with observation and surveillance, one of Joan Kirk.
With the Kirk case, we were presented with an individual who was claiming physical disability. It was very pertinent to the case that we showed exactly how much she was able to do on a day-to-day basis. So for us, it was about maximising the surveillance footage and showing her in every scenario that we found her in.
Joan Kirk had submitted a £750,000 claim. In that claim, she stated that she needed crutches when going outside, that she was unable to carry out the simplest of tasks without help, that she was unable to hold a pen, that she was unable to sit or stand comfortably, and that she could only walk a maximum of 5 metres without stopping. In the spring of 2005, the surveillance company set about filming Mrs. Kirk. In order to get a fair picture of her everyday life, the surveillance ops filmed her on several occasions, spread over a period of 18 months. What they saw in the footage shocked the insurer.
Claimant can be seen now.
What we see when you start to look at the surveillance picture is somebody that is going about their normal daily tasks. They're going for walks, they're going to cash points, they're going into shops, they're carrying bags, they're carrying out their normal daily life.
One of the surveillance tapes shows Joan Kirk on a 90-minute shopping trip.
When we were filming her, she didn't exhibit any form of disability whatsoever. It was central to the case itself in showing the courts that there was a deliberate fraud involved or a level of exaggeration that went way beyond just trying to elevate your claim.
Mrs. Kirk claimed that she could only walk a maximum of 5 metres before needing to stop, and that she used crutches when going out. After watching the footage, that was something that the insurer found hard to believe.
So when the final claim was submitted by Mrs. Kirk's lawyers, we presented them with the evidence that we'd gathered over 2 years of all the things that she said that she couldn't do, but actually our evidence demonstrated that she could. So immediately they dropped the claim for £750,000 and accepted £25,000.
We were dealing with a lady who had clearly exaggerated her injuries in order to gain an increased payout through an insurance claim, but was clearly taking the mickey from the courts, abusing the legal system and the process that sits behind it.
When faced with the evidence, Joan Kirk settled for a hugely reduced payout of £25,000. That wasn't the end of it for her. She had attempted to fraudulently claim over £750,000.
We didn't think it was right that she should be able to walk away from a claim like that, from that kind of lie, without some kind of consequences.
In an unprecedented move, the insurer hit back at Joan Kirk and pursued the matter in court.
We undertook what was a landmark proceeding at the time to bring a case against her for contempt. Now that was something that no insurance company had done before.
In May 2009, Joan Kirk was found in contempt of court, ordered to pay her own legal bill of £125,000, a £2,500 fine for contempt, and half of the defendant's legal costs.
It took a lot of time, it took a lot of effort, and we had to be quite brave in what we were trying to do. But when we finally got to conviction, we were really pleased that we were actually sending a message. We'd blazed a trail on behalf of insurers and set a precedent that people can't make claims that are totally fabricated or exaggerated and walk away from their lives without any consequences.
An insurer spots a suspicious pattern of claims.
Always in a remote road. Police were never called to the scene of the accident.
And a carpet fitter fits up his insurance company.
He had told us that his foot was far too painful for him to work.
In the fight against the growing problem of insurance fraud, an elite police squad have come together to form IFED, the Insurance Fraud Enforcement Department.
Insurance fraud isn't a victimless crime. £50 of each premium you pay each year goes to the fraudsters. We have been set up to tackle that problem.
This dedicated team works tirelessly to bang up the crooks and conmen getting rich off other people's money.
Please get back!
It is our intention to create a climate of fear for the fraudster. There's every chance that an IFED detective may come knocking on their door to arrest them for committing an insurance fraud.
Please don't move, stay where you are!
By April 2012, after only 6 months of operating, they had already busted 80 fraudsters, adding up to £12 million of fraud under investigation.
These people are criminals. These are nasty people. They don't go out to work on a Monday morning like most people do. Their work is submitting insurance fraud claims.
IFED doesn't just deal with large fraud gangs running crash-for-cash rings. It tackles insurance fraud of any type and scale. Today it's raiding the property of a man suspected of lying on his motor insurance form.
He has submitted a forged no-claims discount letter in order to show that he's a lower risk and to get a lower premium. The actual gain in this case isn't that great. It's somewhere between £500 and £1,000, which is the discount he was able to get from lying about his no-claims history. We deal with criminals all the way from the most organised down to the very low-level fraudsters. And the person I'm going to arrest today does fit into the very low-level opportunist category. By tackling cases all across the spectrum, we can make it clear to people that insurance fraud is unacceptable.
The small four-man unit from IFED prepare to enter the suspect's property.
I'm here from the City of London Police. We need to get access to the building. Would you mind buzzing us in? Thank you.
The IFED team can hear some activity behind the door, but no one is answering.
Good morning, can you open the door please? It's the police.
City London Police?
Hi.
Is here, please?
Yeah.
Is that the bathroom or the bedroom?
No, bedroom.
Okay. Mr.
Yeah.
Alex Cooley, City London Police. Okay. I'm arresting you for fraud by false representation in relation to a forged no claims discount document. So the reason it's necessary for me to arrest you is to look for any documentation relating to the alleged fraud.
Let me change my clothes.
I'll let you get changed, yeah. Now, where are you planning to get changed? In the bathroom?
Washing my teeth.
Okay, well look, you need to get changed under the supervision of my colleague, okay? We need to search the suspect's bedroom and any other common areas that he might be keeping documentation in relation to the insurance fraud. And when we've completed the search, we'll be taking the suspect back to Bishopsgate Police Station. But no, just to explain what it's about. Okay, but I'm interested. Okay.
IFED search is being delayed by the suspect.
I'm going to be questioning you about a no claims discount, okay? So I'm going to have to quickly search your pockets, okay?
I don't know why if I pay every month, I don't know why they do.
I'm looking for any documentation relating directly to the claim we're investigating. So anything relating to that insurance company and the other insurance company which was used for the forged no claims discount. Is it? That's yours? Okay. The stuff that will be left behind is just being left on the floor here.
It's essential the team finds the documents linked to the claim. TI Alex Cooley needs to get the suspect to start cooperating.
That's your bank statement, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the amount I'm paying every.
Okay, well, that's fine. You can bring that with you. Okay?
TI Cooley must find the documentation he needs to build his case.
Okay, well, I'm looking for a bank statement on around the 2nd of February.
2nd of February.
So that's May to June.
You said 2009?
So 2nd of February 2012.
12.
I just found the documentation in the first drawer.
What's this? Oh, yeah, I think they open.
Okay.
You're changing the kind of.
Oh, yeah.
2nd of February 2012.
February, so that's a little bit. So if we go back a little bit early, no.
Right, I've got this statement here.
Yeah.
Could that be the one from the 2nd of February?
That's in the letter, I don't have the money there.
Okay, we'll have to keep looking for it.
Yeah, no problem.
The suspect took out a motor insurance policy. He declared that he had a 5 years no claims discount.
Personal injury insurance exists to help us when, due to an accident, we are unable to work or need money for extra care. And like motor insurance, it's being abused by dishonest claimants. The number of personal injury claims received by insurers leapt 72% between 2002 and 2010, a figure that's set to rise. July 2008. 3 months ago, this man broke his foot whilst at work.
The gentleman had injured his foot, he'd broken some bones in it, and was unable to work. So under the terms of the policy, we were able to pay him for his inability to work.
He worked as a carpet fitter, but being self-employed hadn't earned a penny since sustaining the injury. Despite his lack of income, the carpet fitter was safe financially. He had personal injury cover, and having supplied adequate medical notes, his insurer had paid out.
As a result of his injuries, he was unable to carry out his full duties of laying a carpet. He couldn't drive, and he wasn't able to, the pain was too much for him to work. So that was under the terms of the policy. We would pay him until he was able to return to work. We were making benefit payments to the claimant for a period of several months. He broke his foot in, I think, the April, and so for some 3 months after that was receiving regular payments from us as part of his insurance cover. The claim in total was a region of £2,300.
3 months after the accident, his insurer attempted to contact him for an update on his condition.
We found it very difficult to get hold of him after some months after the injury. He wasn't answering his telephone. We weren't able to get updates on his medical condition or to find out if the plaster had been removed and if he was able to return to work some 3 months after the initial injury to his foot.
3 days after failing to get hold of the carpet fitter, the insurer was handed some intriguing information in the form of a tip-off from a member of the public.
We have a wide network of people with whom we work in the insurance industry, and that can be repairers, engineers, loss adjusters, and even members of the public. And all of those are often willing to let us know where they feel that the circumstances of an insurance claim are suspicious.
The informant called the insurer, stating that the carpet fitter had been seen working. Potentially, the insurer was looking at a fraudulent claim, so they reacted with one of their most effective tools.
The next step for us, having received the tip-off, was to send out some surveillance. We sometimes do this in cases where we need to gather evidence to back up our suspicions that all is not as it should be.
And when they received the report back from the surveillance team,
we were shocked.
Okie doke, thanks for that, lovely.
This is what they saw.
The surveillance team found that the carpet layer was not only working, he was driving his vehicle, he wasn't in plaster, and we had footage of him carrying heavy carpet rolls and fitting the carpet in somebody's house. When we had eventually managed to get hold of him, he had told us that his foot was far too painful for him to work, that he was suffering particular pains in the evening, which is perhaps not surprising after the amount of work he'd been doing, carrying carpets all day.
Confronted with such hard evidence, most people would back down and retract their fraudulent claim. Not the carpet fitter. The carpet fitter claimed that the footage was obtained on a day when he was testing his foot. But the suspect was filmed working for over 6 hours. This was, in the eyes of the insurer, more than enough time to test his foot.
I was surprised that he wanted to, in the face of such overwhelming evidence, try to find an excuse why he should still be paid.
In court, his excuses proved futile. The carpet fitter was ordered to pay back the £1,672 in payouts he had received, and was landed with a bill for the insurer's investigation and legal costs. With the added interest, he was looking at a bill totalling almost £9,000.
I'm happy that we have the money back and that it's meant that we haven't paid out for a fraudulent claim. I would like to see deterrent measures. I'd like to see a very strong message sent out. People who make exaggerated claims, I think, should consider that the impact it has on the millions of law-abiding and honest policyholders who all have to pay for it. This is not a victimless crime. These people are not taking money out of the system or some faceless insurance company. It's all going back to the innocent people who have to pay their premiums.
It's 2005. A fraud ringleader is gathering foot soldiers to take part in an audacious plot against an insurer. If successful, he could be masterminding one of the biggest crash-for-cash scams ever. Standing in his way is an insurance industry determined to stamp out the increasing number of these bogus crashes. Later that year, a large insurer became suspicious after receiving a number of claims that seemed to be linked.
We started to see an unusual amount of claims all coming out of the same depot of this big telecommunications company, and within a very short space of time, and they were all seemed to be of very similar nature. The cars were always full of people, always in a remote road. Police were never called to the scene of the accident.
Feeling sure that the claims were all linked, the insurer called on the help of the telecommunications company being targeted.
The telecommunications company were able to release some of the employment records, which then gave us some more links between the individuals involved.
All of the alleged smashes involved individuals who worked as sales reps for the company.
January 2005, June to 2005, a lot of them joined, a lot of them left, and that's when we saw the spike.
The connections continued to mount.
And then we also found out from employment records that a lot of these guys worked together previously.
By this point, the insurer was convinced that the sales reps had been using their company cars in staged crashes in order to make money from their company's policies. But this was a big operation. There had to be a ringleader. The insurer still didn't know who that was.
At the time, this was the biggest conspiracy fraud involving fake car crashes against one insurance company. Totaled 49 claims. The value of the fraud, if successful, would have been in excess of 1.3 million.
In the hunt for the ringleader, the insurer turned its attention to the details of the crash victims.
In terms of the injury claims, they were all whiplash. Very difficult to diagnose, very difficult to disprove.
Furthermore, the insurer found that, just like the sales reps, there was an uncanny coincidence with the victims too.
The people in the other cars were all friends and family.
Suspecting that the smash victims were part of the scam too, the insurer took its research to the police. The police questioned all the people involved in the crashes. One name cropped up time and time again. That of the man at the centre of the scam. Fraud ringleader Darren Duval, a 38-year-old butcher.
How we recruited him was interesting. He would sit in McDonald's, watch the same team of sales reps come in for their team breakfast. He then approached them. He approached the team leader, which he recruited first, and said, if you can give me your details, I'll give you £1,000, easy money. So in total, you're talking maybe £40,000, £50,000 going between the whole group of foot soldiers.
Had his plan succeeded, from his humble fast food cafe headquarters, his scheme could have cost the insurer a massive £1.5 million.
I do believe the ringleader at the time thought he was going to get away with this. He was very confident. The way he recruited his foot soldiers, the way he went about this, the way he planned this, executed it, very well organised, and I do believe he thought he was going to get away with it.
This massive organised crime had been busted. 25 defendants were charged with conspiracy to defraud. It took 5 days for the court to process them. 8 individuals received custodial sentences, the longest 3 years, being handed to the ringleader, Darren Duval.
In terms of how I felt and how Allianz felt, it was a very satisfying outcome. It sent out a message that actually insurance fraud, you're going to get caught.
I'm arresting you for fraud by false representation.
Today, IFED is raiding the property of a man suspected of lying on an insurance application. One piece of evidence T.I. Cooley is keen to get hold of is a bank statement.
Okay, we'll have to keep looking for it.
Yeah, no problem.
It's not the bank statement, but T.I. Cooley thinks he may have come across some potentially incriminating evidence. Paperwork directly relating to the suspect's insurance application.
Okay,
well,
well,
I'll send it to them.
Okay, that's fine.
That's a letter for them.
Okay, if you want to place that on the bed, I'm just going to look. This might be relevant because it refers to the vehicle registration number that I'm interested in. If you can seize this pile of documentation and those phones and the wallet, we'll keep the wallet out separately. Okay, where are your shoes? I've seized a lot of miscellaneous documentation. I think, did we ever get that bank statement from the 2nd of February?
Yeah, we just found it.
No, I looked back. I think it went back to March.
Okay, well, if it needs to be, we can get that information from the bank. So on that basis, I think we've got everything we need. I'm just gonna, if you put your arms over to that side, please. If you both arms over there. I arrested him for fraud by false representation in relation to a forged no claims discount document. In his bedroom wardrobe, he'd very helpfully kept a file of exactly what he'd sent to the insurance company, and there in a little plastic folder was the forged no claims document. The suspect took out a motor insurance policy, and when taking out the policy he declared that he had a 5 years no claims discount. The suspect sent them a document purporting to be the no claims discount, and that document has been proved to be a forgery.
You understand why you're here?
Yeah.
He didn't look too shocked though. I think he knew potentially what was coming.
Okay, we'll authorise your detention so the officers can interview you regarding the allegation. Make any.
We're trying to crack down at the moment on a whole load of forged documents which are circulating around the country.
Step up there for us, mate. You can do your fingerprints now, okay?
We are now picking up a whole number of suspects, trying to build together a picture of what's going on.
With the evidence gathered at the flat and the suspect cooperating, the IFED team is happy with the outcome of the raid. The suspect is on bail until December, and the investigation continues.